Hi guys, this is Cobra Tom,
And Venom Lily.
and we are going to do a video today. And that video is G.I. Joe. Yo Joe. Here we have the Battle Force 2000, Knockdown, and the Sky Sweeper. Here we have a very nice figure, and I will show you the file card. I'll put this up closer so that you can see. I'll let you pause that so that you have a minute to read that there. Now, first, we're going to go over the vehicle, and I think this is one of the better ones, and yet still has some problems, and it's very sad too because I think this is really quite nice, and yet really quite kind of flawed too at the same time. First, we have several removable parts that can be lost. You have the guns, which can come off, and they can be removed and lost. You've got this antenna, which took very little effort to get the antenna off. Although once it's actually in, it's actually fairly good to be in. But I'm going to actually kind of oddly start with some of the flaws. One, the missiles. With the cowling on, which you will see in a little bit, you cannot get to its missiles, or you can't get to them very easily. I mean, I pulled it out, but then to put them back on, you have to take off the whole thing, and it's really quite a pain. The other problem that this vehicle has, which is minor, but some of the foot pegs are very badly put on here, and it is very difficult to put a figure on here because it's just not wide enough. They just don't quite have, so you can maybe put it like that. Doesn't look terrible, I guess, but it isn't quite all the way down, and I can't put the figure any further down because of that. Also, you kind of have to set with this one. See, because of the gun, you kind of have to like move the gun kind of sort of out of the way just to use this peg. And then if you want another figure to kind of use that second peg there, they are almost like too close together. But it is nice that they do have foot pegs because I do love when vehicles have foot pegs and have, like these two are great. These two with the universal tow hook, it's great. Because you can put one on here. One here. But see, they're so cramped, and with the gun, it makes it very difficult. But the gun also has one. I'll do that in just a second here. I'll show you. We'll put this guy here. We'll put this guy here. I can maybe put like this foot like this. Save the, well, okay, I can't. There's just not quite enough room. And I will put the figure in, which loads down. I'll set his gun aside for right now. And he sits there, even though I would much rather have a back peg. That's the one nice thing about most of the Battle Force 2000 vehicles. the figures sit in there really well. Let me see if I can grab a couple extra figures here. Technically, this is a bad guy. Let's see if I can put him on here. There we go. And I need to find one more figure here. Let me see what I can find. Oh, I'll just grab one of these guys. Here. Here we go. Maybe you want a little more dynamic pose. Or you just need him to stand up and be on the foot peg. Fine and dandy. Okay. So let's count it up. This is also a trip carrier because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 figures on this one vehicle. And it's not really that big. This is not like a overly huge vehicle that you'd be like, oh, yeah, of course this is gonna let me do the Stinger and the Tiger Sting, and it's not that much bigger. From tail to tail, as you can see, it's only this much more. And it just fits tons of figures, and that's really nice. I really like that. I think the placement of a few of the foot pegs is a little bit awkward. And I think if you would have made the figures, if you would have probably taken one less peg, you had 2 in the back, 1 for the gun, maybe put this one in a little better spot, and maybe instead of having so much mechanical detail here and put it here, you might have had a little more space. But still, it's a really nice vehicle. This is a really nice prototype kind of thing. Like, it looks incomplete and it's got all of its stuff, but you know, it looks really nice. Take the figures off of here. There is a reason why I brought Super Trooper out, because I wanted to show something when the time comes. Now, I'm going to keep Figure Joe here. This isn't even a G.I. Joe, this is a Chap A figure. But I wanted to show that you can move this around. Let me put him on a little better. Here. Mine's a tiny bit tight, but I would rather actually have that than a little bit too loose, to be fair. And here is the gun. Here's its like guidance system, I think. Here's the double barrel cannon, which has a very HAL laser kind of look to it. I'll maybe get the HAL out and show you. But it can swivel 360 degrees. It's very nice. I have to look at the back because I might be able to see what kind of cannon that actually is. Okay, it's got a radar dish, which is very nice. And the rear laser gun, that's all it says. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. That's still cool, though. Don't get me wrong. I do like that. And as you can see, you can kind of position it if it's right that both go, but it kind of doesn't always work. But see, you can kind of get them to go together. And it can make an X, it can make a cross, kind of a little in between. So that's really cool. I really actually like that. Here is the part. I know I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about this toy too much because it's really not as bad as I'm making it out. I think that the foot pegs could be in a little better position, and I think that see, because it has like the universal gas tank. It's got like this, but if this would have been a little bit over and they didn't have this detail, or put this detail on like this and making this smaller, you could use that peg better and it'd be a little more symmetrical if you had this over here instead. But to get to this, you just slide this out, slide the engine cover off, and you can see that here's the other part of the problem. They're held in there not by the normal missile clips, but by a slide. So if you take this off, this becomes very difficult to then get back on and slide into the right position. It's very sad because actually they hold in really nicely. They just are kind of unusable with the cover on. And if you want to put these back on, it's really difficult to put them on and make them look nice. But here is the nice engine detail. I don't know what kind of engine this is. It's more futuristic, I suppose. Inside, I kind of wish, the one thing that I do wish is that this had like a sticker. It's a nice plain spot. That would have looked nice to have a little sticker in there. But it's got two joysticks, probably one for the weapons, and one for driving the seat, or driving the vehicle. Here's a nice seat. Do wish it had a back peg, but I wish more vehicles had back pegs. And then it's got the clips here and here, and they slide into the holes here and here. And then it's got some really nice running dash lights. They don't light up, but if you hit it just right, there you go. I think you can see that. Looks really nice. I think that's one of the better parts for this vehicle. Now, let me show you the second mode, or the second part of this. Oh dear. You take off gun 1, and you take off gun 2. And because you could take the guns off, I think that's one of the major reasons why you often see the Sky Sweeper like this with no guns. Because you could take them off, and for some reason, even though these are really big, bigger than a figure, they get lost for some reason. I don't quite understand. But to go into second mode, you just take this antenna off. That with it looks good. I actually do agree. This looks good. This looks like a nice antenna. But if you take it off, does it look like you're missing anything? Does it look like it's got a huge... No. So I think that's nice. And then there is, of course, the little robot thing. Some of you know this, some of you don't. Let me see if I can grab this. I kind of knew I was going to have to do this. This is why I kind of did it this way. On there, you can see, hopefully you can see that. It says top. And what helps also is not only does it say that, but it also has a foot peg right there. And what you're supposed to do is, I'm going to take the fridge here, and I am going to put him into the battle station. He is a bit of a taller figure, but that's okay. Then let me see, there's a way to put these on here, and I forget what it is. Come on, Will. Okay. Okay. The fridge is not complying. How about you? All right, you're complying much better. Okay, so what you do then is you put the figure in there. You put this on top, and then you yeah, okay. You kind of, oh, no wonder why. Okay. All right. That's on me. I was not looking. Okay. Each one of these has that. And then each one of these has clips on the inside. And you can position them like that. And then position them. The second one, we'll put the guns up like this. And we'll put the figure a little better in there. And now you have a gun port. Look at that. And it even has a slot for the figure to look out. My fingers are too fat to properly do this, but okay, there we go. And as you can see, there he is looking out. And you have a nice little robot or battle emplacement for a figure. Now, I put it and clicked it in. Now, as you can see, the writing is upside down, but I think it just looks better this way. Yes, you can go the other way, and I think technically you're supposed to go this way because it's got a post on each end. So you can do either or. You can put the thing up, or you can put it on bottom. I prefer the bottom, but then that means the writing is upside down. But then if you do it this way, the writing's upside down anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if it matters that much. Now with this one, if I did it the other way and made the match, see, it's all up to you how you want to do this. I do like that there's like other possible ways to do this. And see, you can just, and if you wanted to, you could just play with this as just a little robot. And it's got like a little, like, 50s kind of robot thing to it. But then the detailing is upside down, and the writing is, yeah, so there is no good way to put that on there. because then the detail looks upside down or the writing is upside down. So I don't think there's one specific way to do that. I am going to go over his accessories, and the first thing I'm going to do is the gun, and I'm going to have to read this because I didn't remember what it was called. Knockdown came with a futuristic ground-to-air pistol called the X-128, which was a high signature accessory along with his helmet. So what I looked up was that this was like many of actual real world surface to air guns. It was modified to something else to make this kind of gun. And I'm not sure what this shoots. Like other weapons, like shoots grenades or shoots a projectile of some sort. But this doesn't say. Now, what I like about this gun is it's got a cocking handle. And inside the handle, but inside the gun, if you can see that, is kind of a cocking mechanism that goes forward and back, and it looks like a nice slide. So that is really cool. That's what I think that this is. What this would shoot is more like a rocket-propelled grenade. This would be more of a high-powered, quick-shot grenade shooter. Is what I assume. The other accessory, and I have two, and I'm going to go to the file card because I want to show something, and I want okay, so on the file card with this really looks more like a Borg helmet, for a lack of a better thing. And if it would have had that red visor on there, I think that would have helped. But with all this weird mechanical stuff and everything on it, it just makes him look like a Borg. But here's his antenna. Here's the walkie-talkie. Here's the antenna, or not the antenna, but the receiver. Here's his microphone ridging on the helmet, which is really nice. I mean, this helmet is cool, and I'm not going to say that. This red is probably a sensor, probably helping him guide the grenade or whatever he shoots. Now, what we're missing is a tiny bit of detail on the top of the helmet here. A little paint would have been nice, but yeah, I mean, I get that. And see, with the microphone, it doesn't go all the way over. See, the detailing does, but not the microphone part. So they kind of did that backwards a little bit, but once again, you can't win them all. But what I also want to show is and I looked up what the helmet was called, but it doesn't have a name, and it didn't give any information other than it was a unique helmet. So you can see this one is a green one, kind of an odd green, kind of a pale green. The reason I have two is this one is a touch bigger and a little more rubbery. And I'm not sure if I got the UK version. I know I specifically sent for a different one. I think I went for a UK one and paid a little extra because This green is a touch different color. You can even see it. Well, hopefully you can see it. This one's a touch darker. And what happens with this one, I think the UK got the lighter green. And the American one gets rubber rot. This isn't paint. This isn't like a whatever detail. This is actually rot. And now it is made it so, you can even see it. It looks smaller. You've got the UK one, and then you've got this one, and it just actually, you can see it's smaller. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Tom, put it on camera so that the kids at home can see it. And you can see that it like shrinks a little bit, and I cannot get this, and I'm not going to put it on his head forcefully. But as you can see, I literally cannot get it onto his head. That's all the further I can do it, because it's rotted and shrunk. But with the UK version, with a little bit, see, I can put it on his head. And it's covered, and it looks, well, it looks weird. But, I mean, it looks much better than, like, halfway on his head and not fitting at all. And I had to buy this specially because not only did it not rubber rot, but I think it's literally just a tiny bit bigger and fits on his head. You heard it kind of, like, click when it went on. And it just looks so much better than this one that's like shrunk and now has all this rubber rotting stuff on it. Now, yes, these are supposed to be two different characters, but they used Knockdown's head for the Super Trooper figure. And they even kind of use like the Super Trooper body mold or the Knockdown mold for the Super Trooper, even though this is a separate piece. So it makes him look like he's this big macho, tough guy, big muscle guy. And kind of doesn't quite work because if you go like this and have his arms all the way down and have his arms all the way down, instead of looking muscular, they just end up kind of looking kind of fat. Nothing wrong with being a little fat, but it's just, I don't think it quite works like they wanted it to. Nothing else from the two figures is swapped over. It's just the heads were the same. His obviously painted in brown, and his obviously painted in black. But it is the same head. And I think Rapid Fire's is the same head, but I don't have that figure. Nor do I think I'm going to get that one. That's kind of a 90s like bright green one where they use the whole Super Trooper body, but it's in this unusual color. I don't really overly like it. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications so you never miss one of our awesome videos. Well, thank you for watching, and we will see you
next time.
Bye.
Bye.